Hi everyone, my name is Austin Zollner and this is my introduction for AEP 855. So I'll just quickly talk through some of the sort of basics about where I teach and things like that. So I'm 25 years old, and as of Wednesday, I will be finishing my third year of teaching 6th grade math and social studies in Moorhead, Minnesota. That's a city that is right across the river from Fargo, North Dakota. There's a river that splits them. The school, there's only one middle school in Moorhead, and it's a Title I, sort of low income school. We've got a wide variety. We've got quite a few very high income kids, and then also a very large chunk of low income kids as well, and then kids in the middle. We graduate about 550 to 600 for a senior class, and our class sizes are about 28 to 30. The most popular spoken language is English, followed by Kurdish. There's a lot of people from Kurdistan in our community. Some more personal sort of basics about me. Running and being healthy is super important to me. I ran cross country, indoor track, outdoor track, all those things for my college. And lately, my really big passion has been personal finance. So financial independence, retiring early, and because I'm a math teacher, that the numbers and percentages, I love all that stuff. So that's commonly referred to as the FIRE movement. So along with that, I have started getting into financial coaching as well as teaching, and I've created a blog and social media sites to promote my services. So getting into the heart of the questions, there are three types of mindsets. So the first type of mindset is that teachers and educational leaders must have is that all students can learn and grow, that no one's stuck, right? Growth mindset. The second one is teamwork and collaboration, and the fact that it benefits people much better than when they're isolated. So when they're coming together instead of isolated, better results will happen. And then finally, happiness and optimism are the key choices. Obviously, you have the choice to, even if you're having a bad day, you can be optimistic, you can be happy. And when you're making that choice, it's super beneficial. So like I said below, I completely agree with all of these, and they're connected. It's very hard to do one without doing any of the others. Asking help from coworkers is a great example. If I willingly chose not to ask for help, I would be questioning myself, like, why would I do that? That would be a waste of effort. That coworker can feel like they are helpful and get to contribute to something, and I get an answer solved. So there are 5 types of dispositions: confidence, risk-taking, decisiveness, sense of humor, empathetically assertive, and being a learner. Those are all those 5 dispositions of ed leaders. Again, I agree with all of these, especially the sense of humor, mainly because it hits very close to home. I got docked a ton of points on my professionalism marks this year during an observation period because I was trying to lighten the mood with our staff. It had been a really rough couple months, and I got on the intercom system and was told the teacher they needed to go to the principal's office. And it was a PD day, so there were no students, and our principals got very, very upset with me over that, even though everyone else thought it was funny. So yes, sense of humor, I think, is probably the most important disposition. In terms of the practices for leaders, we're looking at focusing and prioritizing. They know what they need to spend their time on. Examining feedback and data. So looking at, okay, what sort of income or family life are we looking at for some of these lower income kids? What data can we use to fix or help those situations? And then emotional intelligence. So, just having that intelligence and being aware of student emotions, staff emotions, things like that. Yes, obviously all of these are very important, and just knowing how to read a room in general is very, very important. So there's 8 principles of ethical leadership: personal courage, public interest ahead of oneself, self-control, self-discipline, integrity, task and employee-centeredness. Again, this all focuses on what is your role and serving your role as best you can. If you're just focused on yourself, self-serving isn't going to help you out in the end. The other four principles are recognizing talent, requiring high ethics from everyone, sensitivity and understanding, and inclusiveness. As I said in a previous slide, it's kind of difficult to do only one of these and not the others, or vice versa. Basically, if you're doing one, chances are you're doing all of them in some sort of sense. So in terms of things that I was thinking about in my classroom, growth mindset is a very important point in my classroom. An example is when I teach math and kids are like, I don't know how to do this. This is too hard. And I go back to the kindergarten example. I give them, okay, what's 5 plus 5? 10 or whatever. And I say, okay, do you think you knew that in kindergarten? And they're like, well, no. And I say, well, how did you figure it out? And just sort of prompting them to think about that growth mindset. Another big thing too is humor and confidence. So obviously with staff, but students as well, they can really tell if you're kind of that funny teacher or if you just sort of carry yourself with that self-confidence. One thing I do need to improve on though is my decisiveness, as I kind of let in our PLCs and other things, other staff just sort of take the reins and I just settle for whatever they decide on. In terms of my teaching practices, I do need to focus more on my emotional intelligence, sort of reading that room. That's something I struggle with, especially with students with trauma. In terms of principles, having sensitivity and understanding is something that I struggle with. I had a great home, very easy path in life so far. And so there's really been no friction or overwhelming obstacles for me to overcome, and that's certainly not the case for the student population that I serve. Overall, the more aware someone is of their flaws in education, the more likely they are to try to fix it. Not very often do you see a teacher that's like, I know I'm doing that wrong, and just purposely not do it or not do anything to sort of change it. When adults can show humility and be genuine in their care for students, they're able to internalize it. With these aspects of education in mind, there is a longer-term goal that can be achieved, and that is the focus on development of the whole child so that they can be a functioning and kind member of society. Especially with what's going on in the world today, just being a kind person is probably the most important thing you can take away from school. And then here are my 2 references. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to a great semester.